Good morning, and thank you for joining today's Spotlight with the NAACP Georgetown Branch, where we are here to educate, motivate, and activate. Please, while we get our special guests ready, hit the share button, like, and subscribe to our YouTube page if you already haven't done so. We'll be right back. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Spotlight, which is brought to you today by Georgetown Branch number 5520, where we are here to educate, motivate, and activate. We have our president here, Mr. Deontay Winchester, and actually Mr. Neal, who's actually on the state level, and Mr. Sheldon Butts, who serves in a couple different capacities. We're going to be bringing all of them on right now. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is a good morning.
It's a great morning. It's a great morning. We appreciate you for joining. Please make sure that you hit that like button. Go ahead and share it because we need to know about what's going on in the community. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of good things going on, and we want to talk about some of those things as well. But we need to let you know of some things that you need to be aware of. Anybody want to hop on this get out to vote effort and why it's so important coming up here in city elections in the city of Georgetown?
Sure, no problem. Being the political action chair for the Georgetown County branch, NAACP, and at the state level, South Carolina Conference NAACP, being the political action chair, one of the main focus of the NAACP period is to get out the Black vote, to get out the disenfranchised vote, to get out the vote, period. In the upcoming city elections specifically, as it pertains to GOTV, it is very important because if you look at the numbers, hard numbers, you can't dispute those. Mathematically, it's impossible for us to lose any position within the city of Georgetown if we come out and vote. The problem we have is we lose critical seats because we only have 17% people that show up to vote on the day of voting. 26% of the electorates that are voting, and you just cannot win anybody's election and hope to get someone who has your best interests at heart into the positions where they need to be if we just do not come out and vote. And that's why it's very important. Mathematically, it is impossible for us to lose anything. I say again, anything, if we come out to vote. So our plight is making sure that it happens.
I agree, Sheldon. Oftentimes we hear people say that my vote doesn't matter. Why should I vote? Well, I would say just exactly what you said. We cannot lose if we actually show up and vote. And a lot of times we feel like our vote doesn't matter because the vote doesn't go our way.
Correct.
It's not going to go our way if we don't participate.
Correct.
It's just plain and simple. We've got to do our research. Don't just go out and vote for someone because they look like you. Don't go out and vote for someone because they're your cousin. Don't go out and vote for someone just because you saw them in your neighborhood one time, or they might have came to your church and spoke to you. Do your research. Understand their platform. Understand who you're voting for and why you're voting for them. Understand the issues that are on the ballot. And that just comes with understanding everything that's going on in your community, what's important to you, what's important to your family. Vote with your heart. But by all means, vote. Please vote. It's important. We have 3 African American candidates right now. And if we do not do what we need to do, there will only be one on the council. And that is not representation in a community that is largely African American. We have to do what we have to do to ensure that we have the proper representation on this council, or we will be lost in everything that's coming up. There is an agenda that a city council is pushing that we have not by large been a part of as an
That
African
is,
American black and brown community. So
that's
we
true.
have to be at the table. If we don't have our representation at the table, it's going to be a bad day for us in Georgetown City.
That's so
Just
true,
that simple.
Mr. Just it's true, Deontay, Mr. Neal, and I think you're muted. Excuse me.
Brother Sheldon and President Deontay hit something on the head. But not just look at the issues that's on the agenda. Make sure that your issues are taken care of when these elected officials comes in front of you. Make sure you state what you need to state. Because what happens is a lot of times the agenda is built around certain subject matter, but if it's not there, you need to let those that's running for office understand what's affecting you as a citizen. Because a lot of times, those things that they have on the agenda is not everything that's really affecting you. Because we have different subject matter from housing to utility to taxes to whatever, schools. So we need to state that. If you look at this agenda right now that this new city council have right now, this new mayor government, utility bills have became, it means a taxation on the people that's disenfranchised more than it affect those that are of the influent part of the city of Georgetown here. And they have stated, the mayor have stated herself that this is the first time that they had to raise taxes because past administration didn't do that. I think that is totally a lie. And I think Brother Sheldon might want to touch on that because the people need to know what's really affecting them and how things happened in the past. And raising utility bills should not be a means of taxation on the people or balancing the budget. So.
No, you're absolutely right, Mr. Neal, with reference to that. And just like we know the numbers and can see exactly what it takes for us to win, trust me, they're doing their homework and looking at those same numbers too. And guess what? They're banking on us turning out 17%. They're banking on us turning out 20% out there. So the higher the percentages that we have, it's going to be a rough day for them. But they know if they can keep us in that area of 17 to 26%, and I keep on saying those two numbers because that's what it's been over the past couple of elections. They're looking at election cycles. They're looking at patterns and first-time voters and second-time voters, all of that good stuff. And if they are understanding the numbers, which I know they do, they're banking on us not being a part of the voting process by sitting at home over voter apathy, over sure ignorance, over sure just I don't feel like it. They're banking on that, and if that bank is cashed in, we're going to be in trouble here in the city of Georgetown.
And not only that, and let's put it from a realistic standpoint. We were sitting at a breakfast this morning, and one of the persons there stood up and stated that their utility bills have increased by $100 at least, and that's the average across the city of Georgetown here. So when you look at things from a weatherization standpoint, to installation and stuff like that in the homes, and how your unit runs, and for as your systems that you have in your house, from your hot water heater, your stoves, whether it's on that echo electrical grid, which use less electricity to be utilized, even your washing machines. So when you look at it from that standpoint, Sheldon, $100 a month, that's $1,200 more dollars a year per household at a minimum in the communities. So imagine those that have winterization problems where air continue to come in the older homes and stuff of that nature. That's realistic. That's how the election have consequences, because if you sit at home, people are putting the burden of their mishaps on balancing budget and those pet peeves that they're putting in the budget, really that don't serve you. They're serving
Miss,
one half of the county.
and all of that's true. I think a lot of the time we look for a band-aid to go on to problems. It starts from the foundation of any structure. A building has to have a strong foundation in order to hold its weight. It's the same thing with the foundation of any organization. You have to have a great foundation. And I think the root of the problem lies, yes, because we voted for people that I would say they're not living from paycheck to paycheck. Okay, the average person is just one paycheck away from being homeless. So when you do things like that, but I will tell you this, what I believe what's wrong in this situation is not the cost of things are rising up over time anyway. You're going to have to include inflation. But here's something that you don't do. No municipality should be using electricity, a utility, something that's a necessity for people as a means of profit. That's to me the foundational issue with what's going on. They need to find out, okay, yeah, they're going to have to raise it just because of what they've gotten themselves into. That's a whole bunch of debt, and they're utilizing the utility as a way to offset debt. And that's not how it's supposed to happen. Matter of fact, I want to think there's a rule even against that. I don't even know how to even allow something like that even happen from day one.
It's been argued in the state Supreme Court here in South Carolina. Basically, it boils down to Santee Cooper having a monopoly over the energy here in South Carolina, and found out that it was an amenable ways of actually allowing municipalities the size of Georgetown the opportunity of allowing that to be a part of their gross revenue services within the city. There have been pros and cons for it. There are individuals who are arguing against it right now. Still today, I know people in the community who are hell bent on exposing the city of Georgetown for being excessive in that which it charges its citizens from what they actually purchased from Santee Cooper. Is one industry within the within industry that does not lose its actual buying and purchasing power during an inflation, and that's the energy sector. The energy sector just does not fall off, because supply and demand, you're always going to have individuals that need to warm and cool their house, that warm and cool their businesses. Your vehicles run by gas. So energy industry does not falter during inflation. And that gives individuals an opportunity to take advantage of that in their means of providing a service, a needed service for individuals who they know have to buy it. So it's a death grip, if you will, for lack of a better term, with that, Ms. Ebony.
Thank you for explaining that. Y'all get out to vote. City elections, if you live in the city of Georgetown, November the 7th. Sheldon, can you please share early voting?
October 23rd, early voting starts. October 23rd. That's 2 weeks prior to the election. You can start voting October 23rd at the election office in Georgetown.
And voter registration deadline is October 10th. So October 10th and October 23 are two numbers we should be having in our mental storehouse. Last day to register is Tuesday, October 10th. The first day of early voting, October 23rd. And we are encouraging folks to early vote. We need you to early vote, because it gives us an opportunity to see what we need on the back end of the process on election day. So those who are ready, willing, and able, please, on that 23rd, just go ahead on out and cast your vote for early voting for this upcoming election. city council election.
Thank you so very much. On to the next topic here.
Ebony, one more thing.
Mhm.
If individuals have not voted since 2018, please go and check your registration. Make sure things are in order, because a lot of people purged from the roster. Check, make sure you can update your registration, your voter's registration information. It's critical. It's critical. You go to scvote.gov and update all your information. There's a lot of flyers out with the QR code on them. Scan that QR code, and you can update it that way also. Or just stop by the election office.
All right. Thank you so much, y'all. If you are joining today's spotlight, we do appreciate you. Please remember, give us some likes. Also, let us know you're here. Drop us a comment down in the comment section below. Let us know you're here. If you have any questions, we were talking about getting out to vote. If you have questions, go ahead and post them. We'll try to go ahead and answer them online right now. But the gun violence is an issue in our area. I was listening at my adult children talking, and I didn't know this, and I don't know the truth of it, but what I'm sharing with you is how much of a crisis that we're in. Somebody said that Georgetown was actually for a couple of days or for a while listed as #1 with murder rates. Gun violence. We got some situations going on.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's an issue. It's a problem. It's a dilemma. It's a tragedy with reference to violence, but aggressive violence with weapon is something new that's embarking upon the city of Georgetown. Guns on the streets where it shouldn't be. Kids taking guns out of the homes where they shouldn't be. It is a problem, and if we don't get a pulse, put our fingers on the pulse of this issue, right now we can find ourselves spinning all the way out of control. And in my personal opinion, and with the students who take the weapons, which we have had a couple of students over the month or so to take weapons into the school, that should never happen from inside of a home. In my personal opinion, shouldn't happen with reference to a kid knowing, one, where access is to a weapon that's in the home, and number two, being emboldened enough to actually take that weapon and enter into the school. And then the third part of that is the school has to have some measures to ensure safety of students that are actually in the school by utilizing what we have, which we know we have metal detectors at each one of those schools, implementing that so we can have a stopgap within that area of entering inside the school.
That's one of the concerns that I have, Brother Sheldon. The metal detectors. I've walked into schools and it's pushed to the side. So talk to me about that. You worked into the school system, and you, Brother Deontay, you work in there also. Tell me about that situation. What's the purpose of the metal detectors if they're pushed to the side? Is it serving the purpose there?
It absolutely is not serving the purpose. If it's pushed to the side, it has to be right there where individuals walk through them as soon as they come through the door, and it needs to be a security professional or an administrator there manning those metal detectors to make sure that nobody comes in with inappropriate items. Just that simple. Why did we spend the money on those items if they're not going to be utilized effectively, especially with everything that's going down? Now, in Georgetown, in the schools, we have not, of course, we've had the items found, but prayerfully, we will not have someone actually getting shot or stabbed or anything like that. My high school alma mater, Starr High School in North Charleston, South Carolina, actually recently had a stabbing in the school. So it can happen. We have to be vigilant about these things. And maybe we need to start looking at old school programs like peer mediation, where If a student has an issue, they sit down and they talk about that thing, and it doesn't fester and go on and increase to violence. We have to think outside the box and think of different ways to actually reach these kids, because this is a different generation, man. People ain't fighting no more in this young generation. It's just that simple. I know I'm sounding like an old man, even though I'm 38, but these young kids don't want to fight anymore. And when they have issues, it escalates to serious violence, stabbing, shooting, hitting across the head with bats, things of that nature. We have to
Yeah,
nip it into the bud.
yeah, absolutely. And going back to the metal detectors real quick, I was working with the Georgetown County School District when all of those brand new metal detectors were actually arriving into the district. I was responsible for, along with a couple other people, installing all of these metal detectors at every school that we have into the district. Some of the district schools, depending on size, had more than the other, but that's to be understood. But there is no absolute reason why we couldn't or should not have the metal detectors in full use every day that there's student bodies inside the district. Individuals say that that's not feasible because of manpower, but I can assure you that there are schools in Horry County that I've known over the last 5 or 10 years that do it every day, every single day, at every interest they allow people to come into. They have those magnetometers and mag wands to wand the children, and they do it every day, and everybody gets to class on time, and everybody's safe. So the notion that it can't be done because of manpower is just an excuse for one not wanting to do their due diligence and their job to protect our children and teachers and administrators and visitors that come into the schoolhouses.
Well, let's just put it like this. I can appreciate the issue of manpower, right? But if you look at how top heavy that district is, a few of those people that's making $110,000 to sit in their office and twiddle their thumbs, if you eliminate those positions, then you could have the funding to get who we need in these schools to keep our kids safe. And that starts with leadership.
Well, one of the challenges we have, Deontay, and just for instance, the magnet schools, that school came in with right at what, $5 million. Now, you still have teachers positions that have not been filled yet in the Cobbles Bay area. You have the monitors and technical instruments that they utilize as a part of the media and advertisement for those schools. That's just sitting there, $30,000+ with the equipment. I went visit the schools over the past 2 weeks, and it's shameful. But we are trying to hire more folks from the administrative side of Magnet instead of the instructional side, and that's a challenge. The assistant to the assistant of the assistant, bringing folks from, it's almost a good old boy system at the expense of our children, which we thought was a good thing to bring in Magnet. And I still think it's a good thing, but I think our emphasis and our voice need to go back to these school boards and letting these school board members and let them know those teachers' positions need to be filled. Because it's there, but it's not filled. Those monitors and stuff need to go up. That's a part of Magnet. Principals are talking now about things that they have asked for that's available, but have not received because of the person that they put in charge of Magnet. We have to really get on board. And it's to the point now where, I think the understanding is not there. The principals actually can handle their own budgets. I don't know why we're putting a person in the middle to intercede within that budget. They know more of what they need in that school than anyone else. They need to be given the funding and utilize it for what it needs to be used for, and not utilized to pad somebody's pocket or bring in the good old boy system. Paying them $100,000+ a year. We have, art and music positions have not even been filled in those areas yet at the Cobbles Bay area. So, and at the elementary side of our magnet there. I don't want to call any name because, Black administrators have known to been attacked or abused within the systems of these school systems between superintendents and principals. So,
Yeah. Keeping with education, what can we say about some of these organizations that are coming forward trying to ban books in our districts? I know it's happening in Ori. Is there a possibility that these organizations can try to do the same in Georgetown?
well, you have the Moms of Liberty and stuff, which that's why advocacy and activations need to happen, and the presence of the people that fights against these type of issues and ills needs to be in place at these school board meetings, and be advocating on the media between the press and publicity wherever you could get it out at. You need to be there because that pushes things away. Because some of them are banning books without even reason. One lady said one lady banned 10 books in I think it was 10 books in Berkeley County just the other day. So they asked how long it took you to read those 10 books. She never even read the book. Just banned them because of the name and the picture in the front. Don't even know the content of the book. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's going on. So that's the challenges that we have to take and deal with. It's heavy. They're banned right at 90 books in Berkeley County. Don't even have the process in place yet. So this is the stuff that we're dealing with. Charleston, brought in a new superintendent, fired a Black superintendent, brought another Black superintendent all the way, I think it's Nebraska where they brought him from. Now they're trying to fire him because he's not doing things their way. See what I'm saying? Brought him in for a specific reason. Then when you start doing the job, then you're no longer needed. It sounds almost like Thailand Hospital, but that's another story there. But we really need to get back out on the ground and be a voice for what's going on within our schools and our children and the community and the future of our community.
So this country, I believe, has a problem with history, and especially Black history. Instead of teaching that which was wrong so that individuals could know how and why and when it happened, it's just as much as important for an individual to understand so it won't happen again. History actually is deemed to repeat itself if it is not corrected, understood, and adjusted. And that is the moral of their story is that they just do not want our story of maltreatment, mass murders, cities taken and burned down to the ground, mass lynchings, innocent shooting just because the Black person was just in the wrong area at the right time. These are the type of things that are actually real and heart gripping and wrenching. That's real. That they don't want to be told. Why do you not want people to know what you have done?
Well, it's called the Browning of America. Okay, when you educate people, just think about it, Sheldon. When you went overseas to Korea, they were looking behind Black people as though they have tails.
Correct.
So it's called the Browning of America. So what education does, it connects people with other people, skin tone, Protestant, Jews, Catholic, it don't matter. If you can communicate, education connects you. Imagine when we go to Germany and those other countries, we get orientated with the history of that country.
Correct.
The do's and don'ts and what really happened and why they act the way they do, or why we act the way we do, and why they act the way they do in this country. It teaches you a lesson. We don't have to change a person's culture to love America.
Correct.
We don't have to hate our history to love America. If we just leave it alone, let teachers be teachers and educators educate people, America will be fine. The problem is, take our country back is the slogan. And the way they take you back is to take books away. Because books, once you read it, it's there. It's there. Our children knows, white, black, and all, when they read it, it's there. They understand. You know, everybody asks the question, black and white, why certain things happen. How do they know if they don't read and understand, or someone bring them together? So this is why. That's why it's so much separation in the country. Just look at the Congress right now. They can't pass a bill because of the same thing. Redlining. So it has everything to do with communication. We have to communicate to move forward together. But if you don't communicate, you will divide, and there's no conquer there. That's just another pretty much civil war that's being generated slowly but surely, and a lot of it is already going on. Not in silence, but it's just in it's compartmental, from brutality to everything else.
And Brother Deontay, you to speak on, do you think it could shift towards Georgetown County? Absolutely, yes. We're next in line. And I'm not talking about Shirley Caesar sign next in line for a miracle, but we're next in line because they're coming from the southern portion of Berkeley and Charleston County. They've already tapped into those two counties, and now they're in Horry, and guess who's in between that? Georgetown County. So it's just a matter of time. And if we don't take action right now to address it before it comes, I don't want to play catch up. I want us to get out in front of this thing. Everybody, nonprofits that cares about the history of these United States of America, to get involved right now to thwart these individuals from coming into our school board meetings and dictating to our school board which book is good or which teaching is good, bad, or indifferent for our children.
I think at a basic level, right? It's human nature when you do someone wrong to become anxious that they will get revenge and do you wrong in return.
Sure.
So I think that a lot of times, even without knowing it sometimes, individuals can do things like try to erase the history so that the younger generation doesn't know what happened to them, because the fear of, as the demographics of this country changes and it becomes more black and more brown, that these type of things wouldn't happen to them. But I would say to that, if you look at our history, how often have black people done these type of things? When have we committed mass homicide on another race simply because they are that race? When have we done things to just oppress individuals for absolutely no other reason than they are what they are? So I would say this fear is unwarranted. And what we need to do is just come back together as a people, as a race of people that is one. Because I say all the time, and I'm sure y'all have heard it before, that there is only one race, the human race.
Correct.
The race that we look at in the United States is a social concept that we put in just to divide people. It's a social construct. It means absolutely nothing. We all human. You cut us, we bleed the same. And to be completely honest, we all came from Africa. From Africa, we moved to different regions, and that's why some people are darker than others. But we are from Africa. It's the history.
It's the history.
We just need to stop all of this, man. We just need to stop it. The history is the history of this United States. And to be completely honest with you, we got to tell our own history, man. We can't look to those who have oppressed us to effectively tell our history of what they did to us. We got to tell our own history, educate our own kids, educate our own families as to what was done to us. Because that's the only way the true history is going to go on for the next generation.
That is the starting point. I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's the starting point. It is self-education, number one, and then you educating other folks. But at the end of the day, we are in the United States of America, a free country that built herself on principles and morals, where everybody is entitled to an education, and that education isn't mandated by what you want today and what you don't want tomorrow, and what this person will allow this person to learn and which we won't allow. The education is a fundamental right of each individual. So yes, it does start at home, and I definitely teach your children, absolutely, growing up, and each one teach one. The community, the village to raise one. We all got to get back to that notion also. But and the outside of that, Brother Deontay, I believe it still has to go forward into the public schools and into the private schools of what our history is about.
Yeah, I agree. But even if it's in those public schools, my thought is that the proper history still isn't being told. It's still
Sure,
being whitewashed. What
sure.
we get when they even do tell it. So we've got to tell our own history
Yes, sir.
all day, every day. Are there any announcements that are pertinent to the community?
One key announcement is get out and vote. Register to vote. It's all about voting. Go to the school board meetings. Go to the county council meetings. Go to the city council meetings. Make sure these meetings should be the priority on your list as a people. Know the issues so you'll know why you're voting. If you can't get there, tune into the NAACP or any other podcast that will speak truth to power in what's going on. So that's what you have to do. Grab the newspaper. You have to know both sides of the issue. What you don't like, you need to know also.
Amen.
What people are doing to you, you need to know also. What's available to you, you need to know also. So you can make a sound decision on which direction you want your life to go in the future of Georgetown.
Also, for those who don't know, we lost a prominent member of the community, Mr. Billy White. For those who are interested, his service will be at Howard Gym at 1 p.m. this afternoon. What can we say about Mr. White?
Extraordinary. I call him Shadrach, Meshach, and he's that bad Negro. So it's Shadrach, Meshach, and Billy. Billy did some work that was just, outstanding. From combat, soldier, to park and rec, working with the youth in the community, teaching schools, you just name it. Pushing for funding for that new Beck Center over there, named after Antoine Maybanks. Billy was what you call the epitome of a man, if you're looking for one. The bottom line, Billy was that bad Negro. Let's just top it off right there.
And I tell you what, how I met him, of course, his children and I went to school together. But before that, when we started playing Pop Warner football, Billy White had a team in Georgetown. And it was unfair, man.
Yeah, it was unfair.
I was on the Maryville team, and then Kensington team, and McDonald team. Man, but Billy White had that team, man, and nobody could beat them. It was like unfair because he had those guys just football minded, and they took it to you. They let you know we're gonna beat you as soon as the first snap. We're gonna beat you. So that's my fond memories of Billy White. He always had a heck of a team in Pop Warner, and nobody could beat him. Period.
Yeah, it got so bad when you see Billy, that team walking the field, you run the other way. Nobody.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But I love him, man. He's a real good man. And just like you said, Mr. Neal, he meant a lot to the community. He done a lot for the community, and he's in a final resting place. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna continue to smile down and shine down when the things that he left us with, so that we can carry on with it.
All right,
brother. We're gonna jump off of here and get to that service and stuff. So it's good seeing all of you today. Abney, you're a great host. You're a grandmother now. with that young baby, 3 months old, wearing a size 15 shoes. We are so proud of him. You know, never seen a baby born with a size 14 shoes, man. You know.
You on
You're
mute.
Muted, Ebony.
I said, if you can hear me, he's a big boy, and I'm so very proud of him and proud of my kids. So, but anyway, we appreciate all of you for joining today's Spotlight, which is brought to you by the Georgetown Branch number 5520, where we are here to educate, motivate, and activate. Please remember about voting for city elections that are coming up. Make sure also donate. You know, the NAACP does a lot of work, y'all. Everybody here volunteers their time, volunteers, and we're able to make such a big impact, but we can make a greater impact by your donation. So please give here. You can always send a check to our P.O. Box. What's the P.O. Box number?
P.O. Box 581.
P.O. Box 581, Georgetown, South Carolina 29442. Once again, we thank you. Have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you right back here next Saturday. Thank you.
Hey,
Peace.
peace out.
Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, and have a safe trip back.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.